Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ginge and Pops show, episode 60. We killed Pedro. He's dead to me. He's never returning.
We did not do that.
No, we're kidding. He's off fighting Latin American radicals in the jungles of, I don't know, somewhere deep in an undisclosed location. So, he loves it when a plan comes together. I don't know. Okay, anyways, so. Yes, but Pedro's out of town, so we'll hopefully be seeing him next week. But we do have, like I said, my boy Pops here, the madness, meeting the mania yet again. How you doing, Pops? How's life under the hat?
It's all action, brother. It is all action. Actually, you caught me at a good time because, I actually felt like doing something tonight. So I was all psyched out to go on Brian's show and talk about The Exorcist, but hey, I wanted to meet Hojo. I want to check out his project too, and I've already told him you got to come on the network. So now he's here.
Here we are. By extension. Yeah. All right, wonderful.
Okay, but not the Ginge and Pop show. No. This is Pedro's action, man. I'm a poor stand-in for that guy. He's classic. I love him.
He's something. All right, let me have a sip here.
See, I gave you the little Ginge and Pedro with a question mark. See, I'll give you that.
Good. All righty. Well, buddy, I'd say without further ado here, we may as well go ahead and bring him out. Writer, creator of the Mythicals, if I'm saying it correctly, if I remember correctly, Mr. Hojo. Find out what that means. Hojo, how you doing, buddy?
How you doing, man? What's going on? What's going on, Pops?
Hey, it's all action, bro. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Off the top rope here.
Yeah, I had
a good Christmas?
Yeah, I had a great Christmas. Yeah, cold. God, it was cold.
That thing you have over your shoulder, right there.
Which one?
That Spider-Man guy right there. I got that one on the wall. You can only see the corner of it though. It's right there. There's stuff in the way you can't see it, but yeah,
it's like the only graded comic I have.
I've only got a couple. I don't have that many at all.
And I bought that, and it was pretty cheap at the time. I'm like, well, they're bound to put Venom in a movie eventually.
Right. Yeah. No, I've been saying that about Spawn. I've been years ago, 5 or 6 years ago at this point, I came across a Spawn #1 on a countertop at my local shop. It was a really nice copy, but it wasn't graded or anything. It was just, it was $25, and I really wanted to pick it up, but I just didn't. And I've been watching that comic over the years, and people have said it's not going to go up, but it actually has been going up. I mean,
eventually.
Last time I looked, it was $50-$60. So
I have so many different editions of that, though.
I did too.
I got 5 or 6 different editions of the first Spawn.
And I think I've got 100 signed by McFarlane and whoever.
I mean, the #1 where time, I think. You had the direct and the news.
Oh yeah.
And then you have the 10-year anniversary and the director's cut. I got
and then the one that came with the toy because that was issue 1 too. And that was a hot commodity for a while. Yeah. I got a couple copies of them. Image was fun for a while.
That Spawn's one of my son's favorites. So
I heard they were making a movie with Jamie Foxx. I heard that years ago, but nothing's really ever.
I think that has something to do with why the issue is going up in price, just because they do keep. I think there's just something held up with the writing aspect, but I think Jamie Foxx recently hinted at it. But we'll see. I actually really love the original.
The longer we tease you, you know what I mean? So I mean, some of that tease turns into cash money when it finally drops.
If you can do it right. I mean, the first one, for all its flaws, I mean, Michael J. White killed it. The whole priest character, I know, whatever. The John Leguizamo, that was perfect. Perfect.
Violator. Okay.
Yes.
The clown. Yeah.
CG was in its infancy. It was still pretty good for its time.
Oh yeah, the cape. That cape was out of control back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say hello to the chat real quick here. We got Cool Gamer. Thank you, buddy, for coming by. I won't make any cool jokes this time. Just thanks for coming by. Chris Fisk, what's up, sir? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming by.
And wherever you're watching, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching this, thank you. You know, because I know that
Yeah, man.
we don't see all the people that are watching. We get lurkers, people that don't say nothing, but they're watching on one of them places that doesn't have a
Yeah,
comment section, right? Like if
right.
you're watching on Twitter, you can't make comments.
I know.
You know, so
I mean, chat's the
you know we
heartbeat
got
of all
viewers.
of this.
Mm-hmm. It helps the comments, but we do appreciate y'all watching and
Yeah.
viewing. So definitely. So let's dive on into this
All right.
ish, my man.
It's time to meet Hojo.
Yeah, let's do it. So Hojo,
Yep.
tell us about yourself, buddy. What are your sort of artistic attributes? You're a writer, you're a creator. Are you also an artist, or?
I mean, I can't draw. I've never called myself an artist. Like, you know, like I could do my own.
Mm-hmm.
I could do a pinup. You know, for me, probably it'd take me months. You know, just because I'm always second guessing myself. You know, but yeah, I'm more the creator. I like to tell tales and lies.
I like it. Right,
Yep.
we are professional liars as
Yep.
a writer. I'm sort of in that same boat myself. I'm not much of an artist, but on the writer side, yeah.
Like I could do thumbnails. Like I did this short story. I did a lot of the thumbnails. You know, like I can do layouts.
Very nice.
So.
Do you do that just for fun with your scripting in general, or is
Well,
it?
it depends on, I guess, if that certain panel, like I see something, like I'm very visual, I will see it. Sometimes I can't necessarily draw, but I can see it, like as far as like maybe the action shot or what I want to do. And maybe some artists, they don't like that because they like to have a simple description. And then you got the other end of the spectrum. They were like, if you want to Alan Moore me, you can tell me exactly what you want. And so, you know, but if I have something in mind, like specifically when I see a certain line, him saying something a certain way, I'll just be like, this is what I'm looking for. And, you know, he'll go from there.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'd love to sort of dive into your comic book history. Just
right.
It sounds like you've got a little bit of that here at this point, but could you talk a bit about your sort of creative history? Like at what point did you start writing? Did you always want to be a writer? What's your journey looking like?
I kind of did, you know, because I was an only child, so I read a lot, but I also played sports, and you know, I had my fingers in a lot of pies, but like TV and stuff like that, and being able to watch a movie and seeing something pay off later, or like a series or something. When I started to watch like Babylon 5, people shit on it, but JMS is really good at that serialized storytelling. You can spread it out. Like that's what I did with this. This whole book was planned out almost in reverse. Like I knew the ending, I knew the beginning, so I'm like, well, how did we get to here? So I just took everything and just I built it backwards, and almost. But you know, it's a like my process. Like I didn't really always say, hey, I want to be a writer, so I'd always write things, or I would watch a movie and try to write the sequel to it, but try to make it better.
Nice.
Or look at something, but like this is how I would fix this, and then you know I took a couple creative writing workshops in high school, and you know, it's not like I never necessarily sought to be published. Like I pay an editor. That was the first thing I did. Like,
oh yeah,
my prose is kind of atrocious. You know, like I'm out of practice. I did a short story, and it didn't get accepted to a lot of places because it was going to go in an anthology that like fizzled out. But I just kept it all hidden. Like I didn't do anything. You know, I joined the army. Life happened. And then one day I was coming across Twitter. I was looking at my terrible football team, some news. And then I looked and it said trending. It said Ethan Van Sciver. I was like, I know that cat. And I looked at it, I was like, whoa. I read some comments, and I have enough background where I can really call bullshit or propaganda like that. I looked at him like, first thing I did was went to a Wikipedia page, found Comicsgate and all that stuff that happened. I was like, because I noticed what has been happening in the mainstream. Don't think I had a love affair with comics, and I hate. I love them, but sometimes I hate what you do. I would hate what they did. I was like, why are you doing this, man? I'm not even going to get into it. You know what I'm talking about. So I guess all paths kind of guided me here. And I'm like,
going to cover my face and mute myself and say all the things that I'm thinking right now, and then I'll be right back.
Yeah. So I noticed things, and I noticed, I saw Joe Sontag's Reaper Destroyer. I think it was Shelby did the cover. It was floating around. It's about a year ago, because I've only been doing this about a year.
Okay.
And I had this. I was like, well, I had an idea when I was in the Army about 15 years ago, which was the Mythicals led to this. I was like, I just dust off. These people are doing it themselves. They don't need publishers and all this stuff. Because I was going to submit this to CrossGen, but they just went out of business when we got back. They had just gone out of business. So this is like my second chance, like a decade and a half later.
Right. No, that actually makes a lot of sense, and it's a similar-ish story for me. I tried writing comics. I've always wanted to be a writer. It's always been something of an interest of mine. As far as like also like my first real comic experience was JMS's Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. I
just reread it about 2 months ago.
Yeah, that shit blew me away as a kid, and I was probably, I don't know, 11 or 12, and I got a hold of that.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah. I mean, it was just storytelling too, and actually also I enjoyed Babylon 5. Like I only saw the first season, and I think the show changes pretty drastically after that.
Oh, he wrote all 5 seasons before he even took that out there.
So I like his writing. I think he's legit, JMS. But okay. So yeah, but it sounds like it's similar for you. Right. So at what point did you just kind of say, you know what, I'm going to sort of allow myself to kind of be what I want to be? You know what I mean? Was it finding that CG circle and you just put your pen to paper, or?
Well, before I even really said I'm going to do this, I ran my script by somebody, and I can't believe he answered. I'm not going to name drop him. He's been on this channel. I was like, really? He's like, you got something. It's a little thin. That's all he said.
It's okay to name drop, Hojo.
No, I'm not doing that. But I was like, wow, dude. And then I showed it to like Telepathic Bunny and those guys, and he was like, this is like, it's not good. And I was like, well, I was told it was thin, so I beefed it up a little bit. And I thought he meant like add stuff to it, even though in my head I knew, I was like, dude, this ain't gonna fit on a panel. This isn't gonna, even if you do 9 panels, which I cannot stand unless it's like a 0 Hour from DC Comics. That was a good one where they had crazy panels. But anyway, so I was like, he was like, well, show me the original one. He was like, well, this is it, man. This is, I mean, some things need to be tweaked. He said, but you got something. And so I started hanging up with him, Shadow Punk, people like him, and you just start networking. And I was like, well, what do you think about this? And they're like, well, you should do it. You should. So I went on Alternative Comics forum, which is really the first thing I found before I really found all this.
Yeah, man.
And I found a concept artist. It was like agreeable to my financial woes. And so we started getting some things together, and just like the story, I already had the bare bones of it and a lot of what I thought was going to happen. And then it just, one day it was just like, it's like a hamster wheel, like on meth, like
right.
like my hand, like I write everything on a notebook.
Nice.
With ink, like bullet points and circle. I'm very detail oriented. So like I tried to have everything structured, and so like I did that, and I just like my hand would cramp up, and it would keep me up at night. I started having some weird nightmares in a good way, like for a horror book. So what I call nightmares is different for what you people would call nightmares, but this is
I get you.
This is different. This is like almost like Stephen King level inspirations, like the Inquisitor. There's a scene in the first issue straight out of a nightmare.
Right,
I mean, people are gonna see that too.
Okay, but so is this going to be in the Mythicals? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, in the first issue. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a 24-page floppy. It's just going to be, what comics used to be, man. Like, it's where you read a debut issue, and the end of it, you're like, I got to have issue 2. That's what Image missed. It was very pretty. It was very shiny, but the engine sucked. It was like taking a fucking 69 Trans Am, putting a Pinto engine in it. Just, why would you do that?
Dude, that hurt when you said put a Ford engine.
I'm just saying, man. Like, for all their greatness, that's what they lacked. Like, I mean, some of them were good. Like, out of all of them, McFarlane had the best writing chops. And I can't sit there and say these people are shit writers because they made millions of dollars. Rob Liefeld's awesome. Well, I don't remember what Young Blood issue 2 was about. So,
I mean, just by the numbers, Todd, Spawn probably outsold everybody.
And
so, I mean,
I was a big Wildcats fan, and that's in this book too. Like the way I tell people, I try to pitch it like It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer with all the bullshit melodrama mixed with all that cool shit from from Wildcats with a little bit of X-Files conspiracy in it.
Okay, so all right, so let's talk Mythicals then. Let me pull up this. It's in the pre-launch page, so
yeah, and I have a trailer debuting tomorrow night.
Ooh,
on Justin Belmont's channel.
All right, who did your trailer?
Good Stuff, Mr. Good Stuff.
Okay,
yeah,
good stuff.
This is his little premiere too. His first trailer he's
wonderful.
Produced. Pedro actually did the animation, so I'm glad I paid him for that. I'm glad I paid him for that before he ran off into the woods to fight Sandinistas.
Dude, yeah, it's a shame he couldn't be here today, but I do vaguely remember him mentioning something. I think that's why I hit you up. I was like, oh, okay, all right, so, all righty, let's kick her off here. We got the Mythicals. Number 1, Level M recruits young Nancy Moon to aid in the eternal struggle between the dark and the light. All right. First 25 physical backers receive a limited edition print. Hooray. All right, buddy. So, where shall we begin? Right here, number 1. So, could you sort of dive into the pitch here a little bit?
Well, you'd be I would just call it a supernatural action mystery that revolves around Level M, which is like a top secret government organization that fights monsters, pretty much. Comprised of like a human and some creatures from myth and legend.
These guys right here, I'm assuming.
Yep, that's the leader right there.
Very nice. I love that this is almost a Dracula type guy. It's just fun.
Oh, and they're two, like the dynamic those two have. It's oil and water, man. It's fun to write.
The fact that you say it's the first of 13 issues.
Oh man, this is done. This is as far as the outline goes, it's done.
Perfect. It's like I'm sick of seeing 4-book runs and 6-book runs and 12-book runs. 13 is perfect.
Yeah, and it's a little supernatural too. So that's not. Right. And actually, I kind of cheated because the 13th will be like a double-sized issue because I couldn't fit the finale into just one. But that's
that's a selling point, though. I think you just say this, double-sized finale, the big ending.
Didn't they used
to? We got to get past
annual. Didn't we used to get a double-sized annual every year? Yeah, you got your 12 books and then your double-sized finale. It's perfect.
And like manga, I feel like that's where they're, amongst other things, that's why they're killing Western comics, like from a sales standpoint, because when you get it in, it's going to be like a saga. It's finite. They move on to the next one and create something else that's just awesome, or something else. It's a tale, it's a book, and it's done. They're not going to keep trying to squeeze blood from a stone. I'm huge. I love all these characters. I love the Incredible Hulk. That's why I'm a comic fan, because of Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. But I don't like. I've always had a Hulk idea in the back of my mind. If ever I hit the lottery, I would pay Marvel to let me write them for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have that, but I don't think I could ever do that. I could never write Spider-Man. What the hell can I do? How many times can he fight all these people? Because I'm sick of seeing it. Everybody's sick of seeing it. And then they just create legacy villains and legacy characters. It's just
I'm tired of seeing a young Peter Parker. That's for damn sure. Yeah.
I'll say this:
seeing him start over and over and over.
I want to see him get a happy ending, man. He deserves it.
The last Spider-Man book that I read was not like a real traditional Spider-Man book. It was Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man life story, where they broke it through the decades, started at the 60s and took the key moments of each decade and kind of pinned it together for his. And that was a really fantastic book, and was it kind of really put a bow on it and kind of highlights the fact that, I guess you do make a point. What else can you do with Spider-Man? I guess I don't know. It's been so long since I've read a Spider-Man book, but that was a fantastic send off, I think. But no, we might get to license these characters one day. Who knows? It's a long shot, but 20 years from now, the landscape might look all kinds of crazy. Anywho, so let's get back to reality over here. Tell us about your artistic team, buddy, before we dive in. Who's your
the interiors?
the
Well,
pencil?
yeah, the interiors. A guy named Thomas Tikas. He's from Greece.
Okay.
Just found him scouring through Twitter. Probably at least I'm telling you, at least 100 artists that I just looked at, inquired to, and just you got to do your research. I think that's where a lot of people, I wouldn't say fail, but stumble maybe, and coming with this is the pencil's already done. It's been pencils down like right before Christmas.
Nice.
So we're just, and the inker, he had some personal issues, not his fault, nothing like major, but he's got a life too, so it's not. He is professional inker, but he's also has a professional life outside of comic books, so shit happens. But I tried to bake all this in to where, like, when I launch on February 24th, I'm like, here's the print file, we're ready to roll, or at least being lettered at the time. And that's down there. That's a Peter Gilmore cover.
Oh, hell yeah! Okay, very nice. Jack the Ripper, Vampire Hunter, and the Mandy Summers gang over there.
Yep.
Sweet.
And he was a joy to work with too, man.
He definitely comes across as a nice guy.
Yep.
All right, buddy. So who's your colorist? Who's doing the color?
His name's Diego Albuquerque. He's from Brazil. The inker and colorist from Brazil. It's kind of funny. Like, when I hired Thomas, like, he couldn't do it right away, which I was like, cool, because we're gonna wait till about August, September to start getting things rolling, especially me financing the book ahead of time. And the inker I just had at the time, and like, he was having some financial, like, it was gonna cost me a bigger fee to send him money. Like, it was gonna be a hassle, and like, I gave him a test page, and it wasn't up to what I thought it would be. So I had about 7 or 8 other people I was talking to. I like to keep backups to the backups, like Batman. And so I found this guy randomly. I was like, well, let me see. I saw this, like, he did this gorgeous Superboy pinup, and I showed him some of the stuff. I was like, can you work with this? Because a couple people turned him down, like, his pencils are, it just could be too much. Because they're very detailed.
One of my sponsors, Hojo, just sent me a private message, and he said that Peter Gilmore cover is badass. I just want to know.
Right on. Sign up.
Do you have that in like a full size? You could maybe shoot me or share on your screen without it being too much of a hassle, unless you're not sharing.
No, man, I got you.
All the way.
I'll just go to the Dropbox real quick.
Yeah, man.
I just like,
Peter's
first,
legit,
I like
dude.
to know that the sponsors are watching, and second, it's like, yeah, he loves it. Let's go.
Sadly, my dog got a hold of my copy of Jack the Ripper, Vampire Hunter.
What?
Shoot on the corner. Yeah. It's it's still readable. Let me see if I can.
Right, but it's
It's here she is.
But now it has sentimental value.
Now it's got something I will never forget.
I had 2 books that Zeus chewed up when we very first got him, when he first came here. And I found one of them the other day, just like that. I found one of them the other day, and Zeus passed recently. So seeing that book was like, oh shit, that book has sentimental value now because Zeus chewed on it. I'll never get rid of that book. Zeus chewed on it.
Got his signature. Zeus left his signature. Okay, Hojo, let me throw this up here.
Oh, yes.
Can I tell you my nipples are hard? Is that a lot on this show?
Peter,
I don't think.
Fucking killing it, bro.
Did you give him any direction with this, or did he just go?
I gave him a little bit of a layout, what I was looking for, and he was like, I tried to describe it. I was like, I hope it's not, because if you can look at it, me trying to describe what you're looking at now, he was like, one guy was like, no, I can't do anything like that, and then so he's like, oh fucking god, mate. And he was like, I just drew. Well, I'm not gonna tell you what he said. He just drew for somebody, but it was way worse than this. So
people were kind of turned off by the subject matter originally?
I think so. They're like, it's not a overtly religious book or anything like that. Like, people don't have to worry. I respect religion a lot. I bled to protect it, to be honest.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm glad you found the right artist, willing man enough for the task. It seems.
Yeah, and the main cover, which would be, I guess, the one that's on the campaign, like the one that when you search for it, that's Dan Dahl.
Okay, this one right here, or this one?
It should be at the very top.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, very nice. Dan Dahl, I believe we've had Dan on the show. That's Booty Juice,
Booty
right?
Juice.
Yeah, man, we've had Booty Juice on the show. Best name in the business.
Oh man, well look at this. I mean, like when I go to launch the campaign, like, because I'm not going to charge extra for either one of the covers because it's not really fair to the artist. So
true.
I should make a competition, but like whichever one sells the most, whoever backed that gets a little extra perk, and you could say, I want Booty Juice or I want Peter.
I want some Booty Juice. Never mind.
And then you have a dude have somebody like, well, I want Peter. I'm like, I bet you do.
It's Booty. I'm really stopping myself from just combining the two like phrases, but I won't say it because then I will have forever said it. But you know,
right, yeah. The
good stuff in the chat. Yo, guess what I just sent you, Hojo? Oh man,
probably the final copy of the trailer.
Bow. Who wants Peter?
There you go.
All day, long and tall. Peter, he's a good guy, reaching stuff off the shelf, handy to have around the house.
Oh, good.
And whoa, I just saw the chat, and Shadowpunk, if you're still in here, the original Star Trek is only the original. No. I believe Deep Space Nine has entered the chat.
Dude, I was a fan of Voyager. I don't know.
Admiral Sisko.
Oh man, I just watched something the other day on YouTube where it was like where all the writers got together and like storyboarded a sequel. Like Nog showed up as like a captain and had to bring Sisko back or something. It was crazy.
All right. Rock and roll.
I liked Voyager because they were going way the hell out there and encountering new shit.
I know why you like Voyager. Don't.
7 of 9, yeah, she's cute.
Yeah, she's cute.
But I knew they were going to end up at the Borg, and I knew the Borg homeworld was going to be Voyager.
Yeah, I only watched it for the Borg episodes, to be honest.
I first saw that years before. I was like, that's obvious. Voyager assimilated the first human, and then we shot it out into space. And it's only obvious that it would think that its mission now is to assimilate other life forms. And it was obvious that's where the Borg came from. I was,
Dude, deep cut lore. I am learning stuff over here. This is the kind of nerdy shit you do want to learn.
I like that they finally went there because I saw it coming a long time before it ever showed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of vindicated my assumptions from 10 years earlier,
You're a goddamn genius, Pops.
Sometimes. Only sometimes. Not always.
So let's speaking of sort of outside inspiration, let's talk a little bit about what what are some of your favorite horror? Are you a horror themed writer, or is this just your first is this your first take at it?
I guess it was just easy for me. I mean, my mother let me watch Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff when I was like 4.
Oh yeah. Same
so
here.
Like none of that stuff, slasher stuff, none of that really bothers me, And I was in the Army for a while. None of that bothers me. Like it's just a movie. Like I was big into the 80s. I love the Hammer stuff. I mean, I do watch Brian's show on here a lot.
Okay.
I love the Hammer stuff. Like
we're doing Exorcist.
Despite what people say, Dracula 80s not that bad. But like the 80s, a lot of the 80s vampire stuff, like even some of the cheesy ones, like that, like Vamp. It's like it's an obscure horror movie. It's got like Grace Jones in it. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I've been obsessed with
Fright Night. I love Fright Night.
Fucking what's his name? I forget what his name is, but go ahead, Pops. It's fine.
I was going to say we're doing John Carpenter's Vampires next week, and we have Margene Holden, who actually starred in the movie, gonna be on the show with us on Brian's show. It's gonna be
the one that played the hooker.
No, she was
Lady of the Night.
the queen vampire, like one of the queen vampire chicks, man.
Okay.
It's gonna be a great show.
Is that the one with Bon Jovi?
I don't think
we had like a surfboard or something. He like had vampire stakes in the surfboard. I was like, oh come on, man.
It's John Carpenter's Vampires.
Okay,
John
that's
Bon
James Woods,
Jovi's
right?
Dracula.
No, I think they made a sequel to it. I'm not insane. Yeah.
Oh, they might have made a sequel.
Yeah, it was a sequel to it with Bon Jovi. Look it up.
Show, and we actually have one of the ladies who started it going to be on the show.
Right on. Right on.
So that should be cool.
Just picturing Johnny getting eaten at the dock, like Johnny's like docks or whatever working, just like
I used
living
to
on a
work here.
prayer.
I used to work here. Come on, man. I got a girlfriend, Gina. She works at the diner all day. Don't bite me.
Damn, somebody get me a guitar.
All right, let's go. Pops is wanted, dead or alive.
I despise John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, me too.
I think Ozzy Osbourne ever sullied himself to even hang out with that guy.
Oh, I'm sure he got paid.
No, I mean like doing all those festivals and stuff, and he was like, "Man, really, you gotta put me with John fucking Bon Jovi."
Yeah, I don't know. I like. I'm not a big fan of Wanted, Dead or Alive. I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of anthems either. Like the song that everybody loves is what's it fucking?
So you're a B-side guy.
I do like deep cuts of things,
yes.
But you know what's that tune that everybody sings when it comes like at a bar? It's like
Living on a Prayer.
Yeah. Oh God, I fucking hate it. I hate it. It's just annoying. I'm sure I'm losing sort of viewers now, but
that's cool.
No,
the New Jersey area.
Because you could name any John Bon Jovi song, and I'm probably going to give you that exact same look.
Are you a Bon Jovi nut, Pops?
Not even a teeny tiny bit. No. The best thing he ever did was buy a football team.
I don't know. He was actually. I will say one good thing about him. He was funny in this movie called Homegrown with Billy Bob Thornton. He played a drug dealer. It was pretty funny. Other than that, he's shit.
Okay, credit where credit is due. That's important here. We maintain integrity.
Well, and he's got a Superman tattoo, so I guess he's cool.
And he bought a football team. I'll give him credit for that.
You know. What team? What teams he got?
One of those. Was it
USFL?
Indoor?
I don't know.
Indoor football or something. I don't know. He bought a football team. I know that. Well, arena football.
I'm gonna buy a tennis team one day.
Arena football. That's what it was. He bought an arena football team.
Okay. Well, interesting stuff.
Or some shit.
So, anyways, then let's steer this machine.
Sorry.
This is just how the show
If
goes
the guest takes it to Bon Jovi, that's the guest.
Sorry, it's 13 issues because that's where it ends, and that's where it ends.
Boom. I'm a fan of that, though. Things having an ending, and just I mean, you kind of made the manga comparison earlier. Here's where I think, just me personally, I know lots of other people have this thought, so I guess I agree with the sentiment. But like, I think one of the biggest leg ups that manga has, pretty much, is like it's the same writer for the most part on a series, on a character who gets he more than likely created the character and basically gets to live and die with it. And once that's it, that tends to be it, I suppose. I don't know how many other characters. I know the DBZ guy, he's still alive, and he's kind of passed on the mantle to somebody, but who's doing like the gist of Super. I think Akira Toriyama is his name, right? He's just doing like thumbnails and shit at this point. But,
I'm not even really, I'm not even a manga fan. Sorry.
No, you're good, buddy.
Yeah,
no, I was just commenting on it, just chatting. Yeah, man. Okay, buddy. So, good.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's how often did you read a character and then like they change art and writing teams? You're just like, a perfect example. I had a conversation on Telepathic Bunny's channel about Archangel. There's like a period where they made him into like he was almost like a pedo, like he was dating a chick that was like 15, and like he had like his blood could heal people, and they took the blue out of him, and he was wearing this angelic armor or something. It was weird. It's just not who it was. Like, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I wouldn't want anybody to ever touch this unless I like specifically put it out in the will or something. Like, I mean, this is mine.
Yeah.
for you, but is mine. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
I could put all the I know these characters so well. I could put them in like you could say, give me a hypothetical situation. I could tell you exactly how they would react.
And see, that's what you want. You want to
And-
know
but the-
your characters.
Yes, and that's everything to a story, especially in the team book. Like Peter David, that right there is kind of my prototype, and Chris Claremont. I mean, if I have to cheat and have like a what's they call it with the presidents at Mount Rushmore of writers, you might have to put Chris Claremont on there twice.
I got to put Mike Barron up there.
But no, I'm just saying, like I love Mike Barron, great guy. It's shitty with
him on the show.
I don't know who's going to be there after that, but I know Mike Barron's going to be there.
He can write anything. Though. That's just what Mike what makes Mike so unique. Like he can write anything, and I'm not going to do an impression of him right now. It's embarrassing, but
do you do an impression of him?
I can do an impression of just about anybody.
I don't do
it. I have one rule. I don't do it in front of them, and I don't do it like to their face. Right? That's rude.
Say I got to go, Pops and Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Pops, I gotta go. My dog is.
Oh, he don't even do all that. He's just like, I gotta go, Pops. He's out.
It's like those damn liberals. They need to be hung for treason. Yes, but don't say that out loud. He's
that's funny though. It's funny you mentioned the dogs because we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago, and that is the exact same thing he said.
But like, it's
you hear them.
Like I watch his channel like when he has like these little write-in tips where he's sitting on his couch, but he doesn't edit them. So his wife will talk to him. He's like, no. And anyway, what I'm saying is when the dogs are barking, he's like, well, put them out. Like, okay, all right. This is awesome guy though. Like I was never into Punisher unless he wrote it.
Well, like he's one of the first people that really like befriended me when I started doing what I do 3 years ago.
Yep.
I hit Mike up. I'm like, hey man, you want to be on CromCon? And he sent me a DM and it said, call me, Pops, and it had his phone number. And I was like, I like this guy.
That's awesome, yeah.
You know, it was like he wanted
he wrote Smoke.
He didn't want to type. So he didn't want to DM. He wanted to talk to me. And You know, developed a friendship. It was cool, dude. You know, he's amazing. But
and everybody around here is accessible too. Like Michael Bancroft, all those people, like they'll answer you. Joe Sontag, and it's been very welcoming because like
Joe's right here up the road from me.
Like you're everybody's trying to help each other. Well, for the most part, people are trying to help each other. Like I just be great, man. Just put out your story. Like as a writer, all I'm gonna say is like I don't care how good you are or you think you are, unless you are one, get an editor.
Yeah.
And even if you're an editor, at least get a writing partner, somebody bounce off. I just don't think anybody should go at it alone. I don't care. It's just I could never do that.
I think having an editor is important, and I think the term editors kind of gotten sort of a bad rap in a way over the years, and maybe some of it. I think I'm a good editor. I do edits for some people, and I think what I try to do when I approach it is I try to understand what they have in mind with the story, but I'm not necessarily trying to put my personal stamp on things, and I think that's what a lot of people think editors do, but I'm not so sure that a lot of them do necessarily. I think some of them do, and I think that might make it a bad editor. You know, that might make them, sort of like doing the thing that people don't like.
An editor's supposed to make a story flow. Okay. Yeah. If you come to a spot in the story and it doesn't flow right to the next part, then you tell hey man, we got to do something right here to make this flow together. You don't change what he wrote or what he planned on writing next. You say this piece and this piece need to be blended together. We might need to add a page here or something to make this flow better. That's what an editor does. They don't change your stuff. They don't tell you what or how to write. You know what I mean? They help your stuff flow so that the fan enjoys it. That's
I don't know if he said, who Lee Byron Carver is, right? Man, Kimosabe. He said anybody can write. He's like, anybody can write, but not everybody's a writer.
Right.
And that's true because I mean, she, my editor, she told me the first thing she said is like, it is your story. Like I kind of pitched her the idea because she does, she's into the supernatural stuff. She loves it. So I was like, well, what do you think about this idea? And she's like, oh, it's a great concept. And I showed her the first draft. She's like, oh, cool. We definitely work with this. We need to tweak a few things. And it only took like maybe 3 revisions. And after that, like I got a sense for how she sees things and how she wants things. Like, I'm not gonna say wants things to be how they should be. And how to and then I had already had the notion of like what you put on page 1 should be a banger. That way you turn it, and then every even odd page you want to turn. You want something to make the reader want to turn. But that's just how I think. And then I like to end an issue with something that makes you go, well, I gotta know what it is.
Are we gonna give this editor a shout out?
That's Piper Steed. I didn't know if I wanted to name
What's up, Piper?
She's awesome.
No, it's not name dropping. You're more than welcome to just say, shout out to your friends and coworkers.
I mean, she's great at what she does.
Yeah, I love Piper. I had a little conversation with her today on the old Twitter.
She is very flexible, but there are some things where she would just say no, like that you don't do that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it is my book, and she is work for hire. But if it's something that she's just like, I can't do this, she's not gonna put her name on it. If she doesn't want to put her name on your book.
So
that's probably the biggest insult you can get as a writer if the editor doesn't want to put their name on your book.
Oh, right, absolutely. But so maybe without sort of spoiling too much of what that may have been, was your book, and initially was it, because I'll say this, I love slasher. I grew up on Friday the 13th. I'm a horror nut. Like,
her name's Nancy Moon. I got that from the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right, Nancy. Very good. So how, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how gruesome was your original manuscript here? And like after it's been edited down, you don't have to put it on a number, but like,
Right. I wouldn't say it's too gruesome, especially this issue. It's more like you see the shark, you don't see the shark, it's there throughout this issue, throughout the whole thing actually. But I always wanted to think of it because I got 2 small children. I'm like, well, if I were coming into comics right now, if I were a new reader like 12, 13, can't have anything to where it's like, mutilations or anything like that. I can't do that.
Okay.
But as far as toning down the gore and stuff, there's nothing to tone down yet. Maybe one scene in this, it might have. I don't like the term torture. I like enhanced interrogation techniques, but
sometimes you got to squeeze them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say say we were at a 10 and we're now at a 4. We might be at an 8 and then maybe we went back to a 7. It's not toned down enough because I know. As far as like sometimes gore can be a crutch. Like some of those those old EC horror stuff, like it's better when they're looking and it's all shadow and you don't even see what the monster looks like yet until you turn the page. Yeah, there you go.
Do you guys like to see something else my dog got a hold of? The very same dog.
Oh,
my Tales from the Crypt. It's a shame. Still love him. His name's Ben, but
yeah. Sleeping outside at night. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh boy.
Yeah, man. It's sometimes less is more, but I know enough. Like, man, I've read enough horror books. Horror comics are hard to pull off. Like, had a conversation with Smiling Bandito, and I mean, it's just hard to pull off in comics to constantly keep. Because he said you have a destination. And you can't be pulled off of that destination once you start, and sometimes it's hard to like make gore. If it's just a gore book, it's just for this the story is everything. The gore is just a background element. But like this Inquisitor guy, I mean, he's no joke, man. He could give Pinhead nightmares.
So this is the gentleman right here.
Yeah, okay, and he shows up on the scene and. Well, he's like right there. The Pieces of 8 can rewrite fate. It's not a Styx album. It's a prophecy.
I for a while wanted to do like the basically like the novelization of Mr. Roboto. But it turns out that's sort of already been done. I think they did like a whole play. There's a whole play version of Mr. Roboto. Like the Sticks fully sort of wrenched that IP shy of like doing a movie at this point. But yeah. Also wanted to do the next 3 Coneheads movies, but that didn't happen either.
Well, I was going to say, Hojo, one of my sponsors, Laughing Rogue at Laughing Rogue Games, he also is a game developer. He turns comic books into tabletop card or dice games or whatever. It's like he'll read something, he'll see the concept in his mind, and then he'll start developing a game.
Right.
Games have layers upon layers. It's like his games are amazing. So he might be looking at you. I'm just saying.
Right on. Send him on my way.
So could you tell us a little bit more about the Inquisitor here? Like, what's his dealio? How does he? Does he have a sort of attack method like Freddy Krueger?
He's more of a in this. He's a herald, really.
Okay.
Because if you watch, like, as much as people shit on Joss Whedon for being a shitty human being, which he, from what I've read, kind of is, he's a damn good storyteller.
I love Buffy. I make no bones about it, my friend. But I'm a Sarah Michelle Gellar simp.
I was a Charisma Carpenter.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Let's stop. I'm 42 years old. I'm married. But the way that he layered in a lot of the stuff and dropped hints throughout that series, and let's say outside of season 6, it really never got stale. I think they rushed to finish it up at the end, but his blend, and I think that shows with this, like, too, just innately, because I can't take life too seriously. I have to throw in a little humor all the time. Like, it's got to be there, because in a military unit, even some of the thickest shit, like if you're going on a patrol and things are about to go down, somebody farts and you're like, everybody starts laughing or something. It's just like little things like that. Like, for this, like, this story is everything, but the characters just make it just to where you're just like, you have to know what happens next. Like, I mean, he did it with Buffy all the time, and like he had humor in that too, which, like, stuff like with the vampire and Lucas, like the vampire never gets the pop culture references. He doesn't know shit.
So that's the vampire's name is Lucas?
No, Lucas is the field commander. The vampire is Julian, and the other guy on the left, that's Daniel Montclair. He's like the magician, I guess you would call it.
I like it.
How he techno mage. That's how he explains things.
I love the team setup, and these guys do look, especially our main character here. He does not look like he's fucking around. Like, no. You do not want these dudes. I mean, maybe you do want them showing up at your door, but
and he's so funny.
The main character.
She's the main character, but he's like the field commander. So, like, basically, this issue, not, I can't give it away, obviously. Like, she's on her way to a job interview, and then, like, by the end of the issue, she gets somehow pulled into this whole world, and they find out that all of this is connected at some point. Like, this, the reader is going to find it out, but they don't know.
All right.
And so, like, pretty much every page and every panel has a purpose and a plan. Because in 24 pages, man, especially going up against these 48-page graphic novels and stuff, like, you have to have something.
Absolutely.
Like, it just can't be like, wow, that's a good one. At the end, if it's just like this big team shot at the end, the splash, like, okay, well, that doesn't do anything for me. Like, I just saw an origin story. I would like to see what happens after the origin story if I'm going to pay $15 or $25, $30, you know what I mean?
I think that is one of the most difficult challenges. I mean, it sort of goes without saying, I guess, but a sort of peek behind the curtain is the balance between deciding what panel is necessary and what is not. The balance between, like, trying to tell a visual story that may linger on some elements that you really want to highlight, characters' face shots back and forth, reaction stuff. But you have to sort of come to that decision. It's like, can I afford this panel or not? And that can really sort of jive or sort of mess up the flow of what you're trying to do if you let it. There's always, like, you just got to think a little harder maybe, but sometimes sacrifices do got to be made.
You can put it down in the issue down the road, which I've had to do with a couple ideas. With,
very nice.
Especially one in this one. I really wanted a helicopter, this awesome thing, and she was like, "No, bro, Trust me, that's not going to work. So I had to come up with Plan B, and Plan B was actually better than the helicopter because it gets to show off some cool stuff. So.
All right. Wow. Lovely. An editor, everybody. They're not. Don't be afraid of them. I promise. Most of them are friendly.
They don't bite.
Everybody needs one.
Yeah.
It's important just to have. It's also like, you know, you mentioned bouncing ideas off of people. Like that's actually also super helpful as a writer, even if it's
Get
like
a think tank or something. That's what Bunny calls the Genesis Crew thing. It's like a think tank. It's like just a bunch of creators in there. Like, oh, look at this. Their thumbnails for their YouTube channels. Like, oh, look at this. This is look good. Well, this needs to be tweaked. This image is too small. Blah blah blah. Blah, blah, blah. You know, I could never do that. Nobody wants to hear me ramble on and blather about on the YouTube channel about dumb shit. I'm not going to wear mirrored sunglasses and read from a script and rage against the world.
Well, I feel you. We're pretty stale on this show. That's my largest complaint with the show. I'm sort of joking here. It's like I drive myself nuts with how stale I am.
Right. In radio, you always got to have the driver and the passenger.
Yeah, I sort of try to be. I sort of let Pedro play the straight guy while I play the funny man. But we got Pops riding shotgun, so.
And I don't know how to be the straight guy. I just
Pops has been a wild man his whole life, so I'm trying to hold this thing together here. By the
I could do a Pedro impression. He's not here.
Oh yeah.
He's like, dude,
hold up.
I live in Panama, and they said you know with the cartels. No, I can't do it. Don't put me back.
That was great. What do you mean you can't do it?
You put the glasses on. That's actually he's drawing.
That's the fishmonger.
These people. Look, I'm a black man, and they tell me I'm a bullshit. Work.
You've heard him talk a lot. You know his mannerisms.
Yeah, I know, because he's on with Nerd Bacon a lot with Luke Stone. Because I work super early hours, and like I'll watch that, and I'm like, hey, he's funny. And Glenn, all those guys are, like I said, this whole community, man. There's nobody that's been like a dick. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a rule too, man. You're gonna be doing this. Don't be a dick. You can. Yeah. I mean, you can resist that urge to tweet bomb somebody who desperately deserves it. But I'm guilty of it too. But what's the point at the end of the day? Like, I like to point out stupid people sometimes, especially like I'll indulge in politics once or twice, and it's both sides because let's be honest, they're both on the same team that just wear red and blue ties. I was in an intelligence unit for a while, so it's very eye-opening. But it's just have fun, man. Everybody's here. Like I brew beer in my spare time, and I might not, making comics and stuff like that. All my hobbies keep me at home. My wife doesn't like that. But, the mainstream comics crowd, from what I've seen, and I've seen the EVS, the war of the words, and all these people coming at him and the industry pros up there. It's like they're wine drinkers. They're like, we're too good for you. You can't be in here because you don't understand this. You're not one of us. You don't think like us. You're not with us. Bye-bye. Well, over here now, like I've noticed, it's like all these people are beer drinkers, like, and they have like soft jazz playing. And over here, these are people that have like ZZ Top playing or Motorhead, and they're chugging beers and playing beer pong. And you show up and they're like, "Have you tried any of this? Come over here.
Peace, good stuff.
Would you like to have some of this? Come over here. Try this. Oh, you don't like that? Try this." Because literally, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man. I'm done with all that shit. Like I had like event fatigue. Hold on a second. Night, everybody. Love you, boy.
Dad duty's called.
Bow. All right.
Very nice.
Well, I mean, it's just, it's fun. Like, comics weren't fun. And now it's like almost like they try to talk at you or down to you. And then if you don't like what they have to say, like something's wrong with you. Like, I'm sorry. Kiss my ass, dude. I'll take my money elsewhere. I would rather give it to an independent creator who's busting their ass and poured their heart and soul into something versus somebody that's just trying to regurgitate propaganda. I don't need it. I don't want it, and I don't need it. Because money's tight enough as it is, and I got to come on here and convince people, buy my book over whatever different Venom character they have today, or whoever Miles Morales is pretending to be. I don't care.
Captain
man.
Marvel. Miles Morales, Captain Marvel. Let's do it.
Who's the next?
How about Miles
Spider-Person?
Morales originality?
No, there's no
Captain
Spider
Original.
originality, dude. We got 10 different Spider people. It's
I'm
ridiculous.
all for legacy characters if they're done right. Like, I think just off the top of my head, Speedy from Green Arrow had a great character arc. Roy Harper had a great. Wally West is my Flash. I'm sorry, Barry Allen fans. Wally West is my Flash because that's my generation. Despite what people say about Mark Waid, and I think he has gone off the reservation on a lot of things, he was at one point and he knew what he was doing. You know, I love his Flash run. I love Kingdom Come.
They used to know what a hero was, though, Hojo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to deconstruct a hero.
No, now
because it's already a hero. It's already constructed. It's there for you. Write the character. I don't want to go Steven Crowder. That was my Steven Crowder impression.
They don't write heroes now, though. See, it doesn't matter who the character is. They can't be a hero anymore. Not in the literal sense of the word.
Yeah, there is a lot of like people rewriting their own history. Like James Cameron. I saw my buddy sent me
testosterone is a poisonous. Be cleansed from your system.
Yeah, but
how do you mind? You wrote Terminator.
Yeah, my buddy sent me something today where it's like James Cameron cut out up to it was either 20 or 2 minutes. I mean, I should probably look. Regardless, James Cameron cut out some gun scenes from the new Avatar movie because he said it made him sick. Like he didn't want to. He didn't want to. What was the word? I forget they didn't want to like glorify guns or something. It's like
every time I see arguments like that, you know that scene in like Jay and Silent Bob when Ben Affleck was like fictional characters. It's not real. It's just a story. This is the story. Like, why is my main character a woman? Because that is what the story dictates. Read it to the end, and you'll understand why it is a woman. And I've had people come at me like, well, I've seen some of the stuff you post. Like, it's just toxic. I'm like, and what does that have to do with my writing ability? Like, well, you shouldn't be writing a female character. You don't understand women. I love women. I love women so much. I married one. How's that?
Yeah. It's, dude.
I'm just, that is all noise to try to, it's like, you're not one of them, so you shouldn't be allowed at the table.
Yeah.
That shit is done. I'm sorry, man. The hillbillies have access to the country club now.
I'm taking a dump on the lawn, motherfuckers.
That's Twitter now, though. Like they're so mad about that because the hillbillies they can buy that little blue check mark and it's not special anymore. They're not special. Well, I'm sorry. The world is soft and cruel. It's about time you learned.
Y'all go make sure you sign up right now for the Mythicals, #1.
Yeah, guys.
Sign up right now. The link is pinned to the top of the YouTube channel.
Snap.
No. We keep the show at an hour because of the horror movie. What's it called? The CG horror movie show. So
yeah.
Horror movie club comes up right after this.
Yeah, I got to put the kids to bed anyway.
And tonight we're doing The Exorcist 2.
Ooh, that's not the good one, but
yeah,
that's cool.
That's the one we're doing today.
How many times can you drink every time you hear Pazuzu?
Well, we don't watch it while we're doing the show.
Yeah.
We watch it ahead of time, and then we just kind of clip it and zip through it and talk about certain different stuff. You know, Brian's so knowledgeable. Him and
like an encyclopedia.
So fucking knowledgeable about horror stuff that you can just sit there and learn all about everything.
Yeah.
Who did the score? Who did this? They got it all.
Wonderful.
I mean, he really should write like companion pieces or something like or like a coffee table book for real.
I've had a horror coffee table book in mind. I mean, I'll just soft pitch the idea here. Horror through the decades, like starting at what was like the first horror movie, which I believe is Dr. Caligari's Cabinet of Curiosities, like this black and white.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that movie. Yeah.
Right. And just basically like trying to put together what would have been like the first, because early on it's going to be like, you know, probably slim pickings, but you know, eventually like being able to break it like, you know, horror through the decades in the 50s and the 60s, sort of highlighting the classics and then highlighting the stuff that's, you know, maybe got passed by for whatever reason, and you know, just stuff in between. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
That's pretty nice. Like, I mean, yeah. Especially like the 30s, it was just an explosion after that. Like once Universal broke, I mean, it was just everybody like that. I feel like that almost created like the B movie industry.
Interesting.
Like horror movies and like science fiction, like the Atomic Age, all of that stuff.
Good stuff. Practical effects, people having to be creative in order to scare you. And likewise with viewers willing to be scared and wanting to suspend disbelief. Okay, anyways, gang. So we're at an hour here. Let's go ahead and we pretty much fucked this chicken as hard as she's going to have it. So what do you say, guys?
I think it was pretty good.
All right, I'm going to play us out. Hojo.
Okay.
Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
You're sharing your project with us, dude. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Ginge, I'm going to do a couple of quick commercials and then we'll be out.
Okay, partner.
Last words. Get them out there.
Just again, Hojo, thanks for coming on, buddy. You're welcome whenever you launch the campaign. If you want to come back on.
Yeah, I'll be back for sure.
Yeah, we'll get a full look at her. And for everybody out there in TV land, thank you for watching.
Oh, and tune in tomorrow to Justin Belmont's channel for the premiere for the trailer.
Yes.
There you go.
Cannabis and Conspiracy Show?
Yep.
Right.
It's like the hot stream tomorrow.
Cool.
Could I have been smoking weed on this stream the whole time?
All day long.
Okay, let's go. All right, Pops, play us off.
The doctor is in, baby. This is Doc Blaylock, and you're watching the Madness Comic Network.